Ready?
No. New one.
No.
You've been here all day and you still ain't ready.
Oh, I took a break. Okay. I'm ready.
Pat, you good to go?
Yep.
Like call city council meeting to order. Everybody please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everybody tonight, April 1st. It's April Fool's Day. But the second thing I'd like is anybody with any motorized devices would please shut them down to silent or vibration so we don't have to listen to them during the meeting. And at that, I'd like to call for a roll call.
Mayor Hemish.
Here.
Councilors Pakowski.
Here.
Worm.
Here.
Evans.
Here.
Mathiasen.
Here.
All are present. Mr.
Thank
Mayor.
you. First item up for the evening is approval of the agenda.
Mr. Mayor and council members, if I could, I'd like to add under consent agenda item D, resolution 127-15, satisfaction of mortgage, and under item 9, purchase requisitions.
With that, is there anything else? Others would look for a motion.
I'll make that motion to accept the approval of the agenda.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Moving on to approval of meeting minutes from March 4th and March 19th, our workshop. Is there any questions or comments or corrections?
I'll make that motion to approve the minutes of March 4th and March 19th.
I'll second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Moving on to bills paid for the evening. Is there any questions on the bills to be paid? Anybody have any questions or anything that stuck out in their packet? If not, I'd look for a motion.
I'll make the motion to approve.
I'll second.
Any other questions? Others, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Moving on to consent agenda for this evening. Resolution 125-15, approval of March 2015 journal entries. Item B is resolution 126-15, acceptance of March 2015 donations. Item C is acknowledgement of People Services March 2014 written report. I imagine that's supposed to be 2015.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And then item D is resolution 127-15, which is satisfaction of mortgage for the property on Main Street. Is there any questions or comments? Otherwise, I'd look for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. At this time, we'll move on to departmental reports, starting off with the parks. Kevin Mooney.
Evening, Mayor, Council, residents watching at home. We have made our change for the year in Parks and Recreation. The arena ice was taken out on the 15th of March. The building switched over, boards taken out, floor cleaned. We did about 6 lacrosse practices in there, and obviously they bolted for the great outdoors, which is understandable. The ice season went really well, and you know, we kind of broke it. We made history this year. We had one of our youth hockey teams won their state championship. Our girls 12UB team won the state tournament down in New Ulm. Pretty exciting time for the Hockey Association. We had a number of teams make their regional tournaments. We had 4 teams win District 5 divisions, so the teams did really well. As far as figure skating goes, we had a dozen or more girls that competed in figure skating competitions around the state this year. So there were some really good things going on at the arena this year, hockey and figure skating wise. We were pretty busy most of the season. We were busy all season, what am I saying? So that being said, Upcoming events down at the arena now that we've switched over. I got actually a fairly decent list this year at this time. The Beer and Wine Expo is coming up. That is on April 11th, Saturday, April 11th. And then we have an estate auction set for April 19th. May 6th is hazardous waste pickup. May 8th is the annual water festival. May 16th is the city-wide cleanup day. Followed by the next day, May 17th, is the firefighters relief dinner on the 17th. June 18th is the State Bank of Richmond Customer Appreciation Dinner. And then June 19th, and the next day, is the Relay for Life. So there's some pretty good events coming up. All of those are posted on the arena's calendar. So if you're wondering what's going down at the arena, off season, in season, anytime you want to know what's going on for the public, you go to the arena's calendar under the Parks and Recreation site on the city's website, and you can get that information. The building did really well this year. Just some minor stuff. Some furnaces needed some attention, but for the most part, nothing major. Other than the food freezer in our concession stand. Kind of bit the dust. We had talked about that during the season. I want to say it was like November. We had it recharged. It didn't hold. We had it recharged again. It didn't hold. It's not in the compressor unit. It's not as though we could just pull out the compressor and replace the compressor. It's somewhere within the walls of the freezer. So I have provided some quotes on some new units. Apparently that you can have that for discussion later on in the meeting. So we need to move forward with that. Whatever your wishes are there. Staff did really well this year. We've got such a nice veteran staff there. Other than a couple of new people we had in the concession stand, everyone had been there for 2 or more years. So the staff did a really good job this year, and we're fortunate that they want to come back and every year and do that. The outside rink was again amazing this year. A lot of attendance, a lot of use out there, and again another really good season outside. You can tell because the pucks break through the boards a lot, so we have a lot of boards to replace. Weather's getting a lot nicer, so today was trail sweeping day. The whole trail got swept from the bridge to the lights. The whole safe routes got swept thanks to Gordy and his repair work to the little sweeper this morning. We were able to accomplish that. Things that you can look forward to is the Girl Scouts want to do a project somewhere in town, and we found a spot over by Lakes Gas. There used to be a hedge of dogwoods over there. Dogwoods for some reason all died out, I don't know why. Ponch and I ripped them out last year, wondering what we're going to do with it. And then they approached us with a project, so I'm thinking that's a really good spot where the safe routes and the glacial lakes meet. And we'll just be replacing something else. It'd be a good project for them because they're going to learn about landscaping and design and stuff like that. So that's something moving forward to. We'll start taking a good list of what's going on at Centennial, Royals, Lions, Nature, everything that we have, start putting some projects and improvement list together. By now I'm sure that everybody knows that the summer concert series has been set for Music in the Park. We are meeting next Monday to kind of go over some more planning and some more promotion stuff and trying to get that kind of rolling for the year. It's a good concert series this year, and we've talked about it for years, but we're starting to really explore the idea of a shelter, a band shelter, a gazebo shelter, something it'd be multi-purpose. We could play the music on it, and then when we're not having concerts, put picnic tables underneath there, and it could be used as a separate shelter out at the park for picnics. Right now there's only one shelter out there, that is the pavilion. It's the main building of the park. But if somebody's renting that, there's no other place for a family to go and have a picnic for the day out there. So it'd be a nice addition. So we're kind of going out for some designs. We're trying to come up with, materials that it's gonna be made out of, how big do we want it, all kinds of stuff. So we're just exploring right now, on that. And we got like 3 different people working on designs for the thing, and then AMC is gonna meet next Monday, and hopefully we have the designs and we can kind of go over some things. Everybody gets an opportunity to talk about some of the stuff they wanna see in that. The snowmobile trailer we might be past the snowmobile trailer 5 years into the program. I don't know. Trails. Obviously our trails in town here are doing really good. The Ricori Trail, we've got a meeting tomorrow. A couple of really cool things are happening with the Ricori Trail. Number one, we've had some good meetings with the railroad and MnDOT, and as it stands right now, we may have an opportunity to actually purchase the corridor moving ahead. Instead of sharing the corridor with a railroad, we may have an opportunity just to use the corridor and make that our trail. Which, when we do that, obviously we have to buy the track, the property, but then it brings our construction costs down like in half. Because we don't have to put up fences, we don't have to worry, we don't have to bring in extra fill, just pull the tracks and get the ground prepped and move forward. So we'll see where that's at. Obviously the tracks leading to Cold Spring right now, they may or may not want to continue rail service. We'll find out what's going to happen. They were going to do some investigating since our last meeting and find out what's going on there. So, but that would really be, it'd be a nice step forward if we could do that. Which is construct the darn thing right on top of the old rail bed. As it stands right now, that's all I got for you. I ripped through it pretty fast. Marty was over there going, not really, but I could see it in his eyes.
Kevin, I got a few questions. If somebody wants to do anything to the Ricori Trail, which starts approximately by Horseshoes and goes towards Cold Spring, correct?
It starts at 178th
And that's right.
and works towards Cold Spring, right?
If they want to do something on that trail, what's the procedure do you apply for that? Who do you go see? Or
I would
what?
suggest contact one of your city halls. So if you're a Richmond resident, contact Richmond, Cold Spring, Rockville, and then that's where the ball would start rolling at that point. Yeah, we have a lot more freedom on the Ricori Trail, obviously, than we do on the Glacial Lakes Trail. State's pretty strict, but
State.
How long would it take to get an answer to something?
Depends on what it is. We meet monthly, so most likely the issue would have to come before the board. Then, if it's strong enough, we'd have to bring it back.
Well, it would be installing some mile markers and this type of thing.
I got a feeling something like that could be a meeting, don't you, Tim?
Yeah.
We'd sit down, talk about it. If it's somewhere within what we have to work with as a budget,
But our first meeting, I guess our next meeting is tomorrow, and then after that would be May.
Well, they're really not. This was an item that came up in a previous meeting of the EDA anyway, so we'll probably be looking at it again next month, or actually, later on this month at the EDA, but we'll come up with a plan if they want to work on that. I know one of the members is looking into the other half of the trail too. So with that, then I see that you have 6 or 7 bookings for the arena, but it looks like there's plenty of openings if anybody wants to book anything there.
Absolutely.
So not that whether it's not you have a good start with this way. The band shelter that you started talking about, is that in the general plan of the park?
Yes. Well, there's additional gazebos in the master plan of the park. There are additional gazebos in the drawing, so
Okay.
it's not outside of what was designed.
No, I know that there was some in there, and there's a lot of people that had a lot of volunteer hours to make that master design and volunteered a lot of time and money towards that park, and would like to stay somewhat with that general plan. The last thing is, you mentioned the park board. I mean, you mentioned the AMC, but you didn't mention the park board. Doesn't the park board have something to do with the input on any type of gazebo such as the park? Members of the Lions, members of the Baseball Association, and that park board. The AMC basically is just a music council. It's a committee for just input rather than the park board. Actually, these members, Lions, baseball, or whatever, have a physical and a monetary investment in our park system. So before you just talk to them, I would definitely call in everybody rather than just the AMC.
Could I answer that question?
Yes.
The park board was suspended a number of years ago.
Right, but don't we have a board that we
We have a
meet?
we have a users
Yep.
group.
Users group or whatever
Yes.
it is, that's the Lions and the Baseball Association and everybody else.
Okay.
Those are the people I would say that should be involved at this. Because the AMC does not have any monetary value, no money invested in the park systems.
Understood.
So that's where the point I was trying to make there. So with that, I think your summer trade, your winter trade has been fantastic looking in the summer. I'm really basically excited about your auction that you brought in. That's the type of thing that we need, the one-dayers there. And you have some repeats of the bank or whatever coming in there, so that sounds good. And the walk for cancer, relay of life.
It's a great building for things like the relay, things like the fireman's dinner, the bank dinner, even the auction. The auctioneers love the building. When we've run auctions in the past, they think the building's great. They can run their trailers in, put them right in front of the bleachers, auction off a trailer, move the bleachers, bring in another trailer. Nobody's moving unless they need to go to the bathroom or get some concession food. So, it's a really good venue for that.
You done, Pat?
Yeah.
Okay, I have one question, Kevin, towards the arena. Is there anything that we need to probably maybe look forward to for the upcoming season, fall/winter, from a need standpoint that the arena is looking at? I know we've upgraded some of our furnaces in the Zamboni rooms in our area, but is there something basically on your wish list or something that we need to address?
I go back to the ceiling.
Okay, go back to
I'll
the
go back to the
ceiling.
ceiling.
Is the ceiling still the?
What we did this year was when we'd see the frost forming on the ceiling, we would take any opportunity we could to turn the heat up in there, to drop it all before the weekend. So we'd stoke the building up to as warm as we could possibly get it and let all that frost, all that condensation and moisture drop down when there's nobody in the building. Then we'll go around, we'll clean it up. We'll sweep and mop the ice that hits the frost that hits the floor, and then we'll go out and Zamboni whatever hits the ice, and hope that we got it all before the weekend hits. Or a big high school game, or something where the building was going to get warm. We wanted to get it warm before we had people in the building, so that was the way we approached it this year. So we had a nice day on a Thursday. We were turning heat on, and we were melting down the ceiling. Is
Is there anything that we've looked at with our commercial refrigeration company, Carlson Stewart? Anything in some type of commercial dehumidification system?
We can do
Will
that.
we be able to pull out some of that moisture out of there instead of having to try to crank up the heat? I think that's probably an outlet that we might maybe need to look at, because there's some tie-ins that you can do with some type of a dehumidification system.
The
that would
systems
be able
are
to take a
expensive.
Particular relative humidity out of the building. That would probably prevent some of that, but yeah, they are expensive, yes.
Very expensive, and so is the operation of those units.
Right.
It's very expensive.
Okay. Just thought it may be an alternative to find out.
No, it is an alternative.
Right.
No,
Okay.
definitely.
All right, thanks. That's all I had.
Anybody else have any questions for Kevin?
I don't, nope.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
have a nice,
Kevin.
have a nice Easter.
Yes, thank you. You too.
All right, move on to Public Works. Gordy Dingman.
Good evening, gentlemen. We started the street sweeping. We got the first round completed last week and the week before. The second round will be starting shortly, within about the next 2 weeks. I gotta re-sweep everything again. Basically what happens is when I start sweeping right away, we have some snowbanks still there yet. And those snowbanks have been melting, so what I do is I usually have to hit it twice. Streets, we met with Rockville, Cold Spring regarding crack filling and seal coating again this year. Well, you guys remember that we always did together on that. I'll be calling Kara up in St. Martin to see if they're wanting to go along with us again this year. Last year they didn't do it, but I will be giving her a call to see if they want to go along with us regarding the crack filling and chip sealing. The compost, some people have been calling regarding the compost. It's an early season. Some people like to get in and start doing some things. The newsletter that went out yesterday or the day before, it says May 1. We just picked the date. The reason why we picked that date was we looked back on the calendar from the other previous years, and we still had snow on the ground. So we picked that May 1. We also put it in the paper that weather permitting. So what we're kind of thinking, Cindy and I were chatting along with Murray this morning regarding when we should open that up. So we're thinking about another 2 weeks. The places where these guys haul the compost to, there's still some frost in the ground and it's still thawing out yet. So that wasn't kind of the reason why we kind of picked those later dates. It isn't so much that people want to get their yards done, we understand that, but we also have to get rid of the material too on our end. So keep that in mind regarding that. Our gates this winter, they were gates that were put on that fence before we bought the building. They were kind of a lighter weight gate, and they kind of got worn out. So what happened is I changed those gates the other day. We picked up some heavier gates for that, so our gate system is a little bit better. So I put new gates on this week. Light poles. I noticed on the east end of town on First Street and Pine, which is 67 out by 71 out there, no street light out there. Dollar General Store has parking lot lights, so it lights up fairly decent, but now they've been turning their lights off in the evenings, and it's kind of dark back there. We do have, every year we put in a budget for a new street light. So what I'll be doing is I'll be getting a hold of Stearns Electric, and I'll be asking them to put in a street light there, along with the one that's over on Maple. That one's got to get finished up from last year. You guys okay? Design Electric, they are still on the list regarding coming into town to do the preventive maintenance. They got to check some lights up. I stopped and go light. That was brought up last month already. They said as soon as they get a chance, they'll be coming up and doing that. I did contact them again today, and they said, well, the wind and stuff, they're not going to be doing a whole heck of a lot. Which brings us to the banners. Highway 23 banners, we've been getting calls regarding our snowmen out there. We are well aware that those banners are there. We do have Cold Spring come up to help us with those banners. We don't have a boom truck ourselves, so what happens is when they're done changing theirs, they'll come up and change ours. They just finished changing theirs this last week, but being it was windy last weekend and then first part of this week, our game plan is to change them on Friday. So that's when the game plan will be, is to get those banners switched over on Friday. Our goal, if you recall last year, we had the same issue, people called in regarding our banners. I look back on my notes, it was April 15th, we changed the banners last year, and at that time, we talked, if the council level says that we're gonna try getting these banners switched before Easter. So that was our game plan. And then, next Tuesday, the 7th, we got League of Minnesota Cities training over in St. Cloud. That's pretty much an all-day affair. I'll be gone to that. And then on the 8th, we have weed inspection. The mayor and myself have to go to Greenwald for a morning. So that's kind of like what's going on with that stuff. So last year, April 16th, we had 8 inches of snow. So hopefully we don't have that this time. So, any questions?
Nope. Anybody else? Thanks, Gordy.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot, buddy.
We'll move on to fire department report. Chief Steve Kost.
Evening, everyone. Start off with the calls for March. We had 5 medicals and 0 fires for the month of March. March 28th, we had about 8 members attend St. John's EMS conference, which is guest speakers and some classes that they attend, go through. Jesse Coleman, would like to make him aware, or recognize him, that he did a good time at a stair climb. There were 7 members on our department that went to that. Did a remarkable time on that. There was 31 flights of stairs that they had to do, so that's pretty remarkable. I'm not sure what his time was, 6 minutes or something like that, so pretty good.
6 minutes and 40.
Next, I'd like to recognize Mike Plattenberg. Everybody knows him as Tucker. He retired from our fire department after serving 27 years on our department, so I'd like to congratulate him and hopefully he enjoys his retirement. So if you happen to see Tucker out there, congratulate him for a job well done. And May fundraiser for our chicken dinner, May 17th. I know it's a month away, but that'll be at the Ice Arena. Tickets should be available coming up in a few weeks, so if you see anybody in one of the firefighters, you can talk to one of those guys and pick up some tickets or purchase some tickets from those guys. That's about all I have.
Anybody have
Questions?
any questions?
Just one question on the retirement. Does the council have to, since they are an employee of the city, basically accept the resignation?
It has not been a practice of this council to do that. It's something we can consider starting, but it hasn't been done.
Okay, I'm just saying, you know,
Yeah.
because they are an employee, at-will employee,
Yep.
so.
And are we in need of a replacement now again, Steve, or are we gonna be?
We
okay
were one
with
of
everybody?
us, so.
We upped it to 25
Oh, okay.
and we'd like to keep the 25, so we'd
Okay.
like to move on with getting a 25th person back on.
We'll talk about it.
Because we got about 5 other members that are getting up there in years of service too, so
Exactly.
so we'd like to keep that kind of full.
I only say that because it should come through my office before it goes to the council. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any other questions for Steve?
No,
Thanks, Steve.
All right, thank you.
it's a lot.
Move on to emergency management. Jesse Coleman.
Evening Council, Mayor, Marty. Just a real quick update on the Emergency Management Department. Just a reminder that this year, April 13th through the 17th, is the Severe Weather Awareness Week. What that consists of is day 1 would be Monday. It touches on alerts and warnings, like watch the conditions for favorable severe weather. Day 2 would be severe storms. Day 3, flood safety. Day 4 would be the tornado safety. That day we do a tornado drill. The first drill is at 1:45 p.m. and the other one is at 6:55 p.m. For the whole state, I do believe. Day 5 is Friday. That is the heat wave safety. They're just touching on the signs of heat exhaustion, heat stroke, etc. So yeah, that's April 13th through the 17th. Another thing that myself and Randy Shackman are going to be doing is updating the ID badges, getting everybody up to date on them. We're also going to be updating the city's operation plan, emergency operations plan. And then also another reminder too is if anybody in the public needs to get their weather radio programmed, I still am available to program them, and I also will have a weather programming booth at the fire department's May fundraiser on the 17th. So, in a nutshell, that's all I got, unless you guys have any questions or comments for me.
Anybody have anything? Thanks, Jesse.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
What? Do you have something?
No, I was just gonna, Jesse, you need to again remind people about the sirens. They should not rely on these sirens when they're in the house. Is that a true statement?
Yes, that's correct. They are designed to hear outside only. To me, it's always a plus to hear them when you're indoors. But yes, they are designed for people outside to seek shelter, get indoors, stay indoors. So, and they don't only sign just for tornadoes. They're gonna sound for hail, high winds, and heaven forbid a terrorist attack or whatever. That's hence the name civil defense sirens. So,
Thank you.
you bet.
All right, thanks, Jess. At this time, we'll move on to council report tonight. We'll start with the EDA.
Mr. Mayor, we've had a meeting last evening of the Economic Development Authority, and as of Tuesday, we have definitely hit a very great milestone in the EDA, excuse me, with selling the last parcel, or last two parcels of property at Tower Acres on the east end of the city. It is being purchased by a couple that is going to build and construct an A&W fast food restaurant there in the next year to a year and a half. They have 2 years according to the contract. We have closed on this deal as of yesterday. Very excited about that. They are in the fast food A&W business in a couple other areas, so they are experienced. So it's not going to be just a shot in the dark there. So we're definitely going to want to welcome them to the community. The EDA worked pretty hard at getting something that has very little competition to any of the businesses that we have already into the city. Along with that, at the meeting, we went over the program we got. We're basically, Lydia McKinsey is heading up the business retention and development, which she's about, what would you say, Mike, about halfway through, pretty close. It's supposed to be done by August or September. And they've done the interviews, and they're going to be starting to bring in some reports to us where we lack and development and where we have positive growth or whatever. So that'll be coming up. For people out in TV land there, we definitely have our business enhancement fund. So if anybody owns commercial property that would like to do something to the front of their buildings, it has to be on the building. It's not going to for tar or anything else. There is a cost share. It's over a 5-year program type thing. There's money available there. And there also is the revolving loan fund that we have set up that if there's funds needed to start a business or to improve a business or to expand a business, the revolving loan fund is there. So we meet once a month, and if you are interested, just contact Marty over here. He'll tell you the date and the time. It's normally at 6:30 out at the maintenance building on the east end of town. So make sure that you can make an appointment. We get you on the agenda. We also talked a little bit about the trails coming into town and labeling them, and that's what my question was to the Parks and Recs individual, to make sure that we could mile markers along with the advertising a little bit, 1 mile until a rest area, 1 mile until water, convenience, air, whatever somebody on the bike trail would need. This would also serve purposes for snowmobilers during the winter. They'd be large enough or whatever. We're looking into this, not saying it's a done deal. So it's just an idea that's out there. Like Kevin said, there's 2 sets of rules for the Rocori Trail versus the DNR Trail or the Glacier Ridge Trail. So we probably have to come up with something that's going to work both ways. Mike, anything else that we covered or didn't cover that?
I think the only thing that we did look at was now that the 2 particular pieces of property that we have sold, we are now looking as an EDA for additional pieces of property that we have in and around city limits or existing buildings that are currently up for sale. If there's something that we can do to enhance or bring business into the city of Richmond, we are looking now a little bit more forward into that.
Or promote the sale
Or
of that.
promote the sale of it. Other than that, that's it.
Anybody have any questions for him?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Nope. Thanks for the report. We'll move on to Planning Commission, Josh and Tim.
We had our meeting March 26th, and we discussed, or we clarified our pole buildings statute. We determined that pole buildings are allowed with vertical or horizontal siding. as long as they color match their primary residence.
Yep.
And we're going to be updating our code book soon. And we talked a bit about annexation on what we would like to be done or how to move forward with annexation. And in the future, not this month, but we'll be looking forward to having a joint meeting with the council at a workshop. And that was pretty much the extent of what we talked about. Short meeting.
Yes.
All right. Anybody have any questions for them? Then we'll move on to Tri-City Cable. Next meeting is a week from today at 5 p.m. at Ricori, correct? So that'll be our first meeting that Josh and I will attend. So, other than that, we'll move on to the 125th anniversary of the city. Pat, you want to give some information?
Okay, Council, Mr. Mayor, besides being the 25th birthday of Richmond, we're actually celebrating that on River Lake Days, and that's why I'm a representative here as one of the co-chairmen. Exciting week coming up. Like I mentioned last month, some of the things are now developing, that they're cut a little bit in stone. Right away, Marty handed me his ice cream social and pie baking contest. That's you'll be judged on the pie in different categories such as fruits, nuts, cream, or the youth contest. So anyway, pick up one of these here at City Hall from Cindy or from Marty. They were talking a little bit before the meeting here. There's definitely a lot of judges that could be judges that love to eat pie. And this is going to be kicking off the Tuesday before, along with the music in the park. Now, I don't know, coming from Richmond, being born in Richmond, I have a little bit of a problem with this, is because we're eating our dessert before the meal on Wednesday. Now, you never could eat your dessert before the meal. Well, the meal's going to be on Wednesday. We're going to have a historical meal out at the Coliseum. This is brought to you, folks, by the American Legion Auxiliary. They have a German style of meal. I just spoke to one of the chairmen. And when I say German style, they're going to mention it in German, but it's basically what's going to be is a pork rib, not pork rib, but pork, anyway, it's going to be pork.
Pork loin?
Pork loin, thank you very much, type of dinner. And it's not going to be all the trimmings like the fire department does in September, but it's definitely going to be geared a little bit that way at a very reasonable price. So look for tickets coming up in the next month or so. They're being printed as we speak. Yes.
Is there a dance, not costume?
Basically, along with that, they have a couple businesses in town. They were mentioning a show, a wedding gown show, along with some of the attire from 125 years ago. And they have lined up a evening, about a half hour, 45 minutes presentation with the Stearns County Historical Society, a member from there, to give a presentation. So it'll be a very big evening of history in Richmond. So keep that on your open on calendars, and that is the Wednesday. The pie eating is first, and then you eat the main meal. So that's a little bit different, but that was 125 years ago. So anyway, Thursday is still on for our draft horses out at the park. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday will be all confirmed this Monday at the River Lake Day meeting at 7 o'clock here at City Hall. So if you're interested, stop on by, get involved. They're always looking for different volunteers to help out. If you want to donate a couple hours, contact Marty. We'll take your name down. They can help with the gates. We can help with setup, cleanup, advertising, the kiddie parade, the adult parade, or the grand parade, whatever. So we're always looking for help. So if you want to donate, it's a great bunch of people. The button design, the buttons have been ordered, and I showed you that in the last meeting. So that will be coming up very soon too. So it's going to be a big 5 days. So I hope that everybody is going to participate and enjoy our little birthday celebration. So, any questions from the council?
Are you gonna have a list of all these events popping out after your next River Lake Days meeting?
We'll be going through the brochure at this next meeting, which is Monday, and then it goes to print, and that will normally be out by the 1st of May, so we can get the fishermen.
Okay.
and people that come up for the opener can take one along and start planning their weekend. And this year's gonna be almost a week.
Are you gonna list all those items on the city's website as
That
well?
would be up to Marty and Cindy.
I think she was trying to confirm some more of this today.
Okay.
She's been working on it.
So it's been a little bit of work to kind of get this all. It's gonna be really a hand juggling, choreographical thing from one day to the next. What's really going on, but looking at the people and the excitement that's out there, it's gonna be really a lot of fun. It's gonna be a fast, fun weekend. So bring your relatives back, show them our city off, because that's what it's all about. So,
All right.
anything else?
Anybody else have any questions? Thanks, Pat.
Thank you very much.
I forgot to mention the meeting for the next planning commission meeting is Thursday, April 30th at 6.
And that's here.
That's here. That's here.
All right. Thanks, Josh. At this time, we'll move on for council action. Hand these down to you. Kevin brought up about the new freezer at the arena. I believe he was looking at the second one on the list on the front page. I know he talked about this once or twice already beforehand. Any thoughts, questions, comments?
Well, before we even look at this, later this past fall, while making my way through town, I got an earful of why we don't allow people in town to bid this. I think if this is something you're looking at, there should be some general specs made out, and if the local hardware store that sells appliances or a commercial company that sells this on the side is interested in bidding it, we definitely should allow them to bid it. And we're talking a sizable amount of money, $2,200–2,300. I believe that we definitely owe it to our taxpayers to allow them to have a shot at a sale.
Could I ask a question?
Yep.
Is it okay to ask you?
Yeah.
I know nothing about refrigeration. I know that Mike is probably an expert in that field, but correct me if I'm wrong, isn't this the company that he uses to do the repairs and maintenance of this equipment at the arena? And I'm not aware of a commercial business in town that can provide that service. If there is, we'll certainly look into it.
Oh,
It's sold by Strategic, and anybody can actually go through Superior Products or Strategic to get, if you want Trimart. I have a history in this type of thing. I work on this stuff every day of the week. In fact, I worked on a freezer similar to this, but a glass door this morning. I would not ever buy a Trimart. I would buy a Bev Air or something else like this, so or a True. So they're more common and generally out there, and that's why I say that there should be some specs rather than just looking through a catalog and say we need a 23 cubic foot stainless steel freezer. The other question I have is the freezer that was in there for the last 14 years, is that how old the arena is roughly?
Okay.
Was purchased for less than $300 or $400, and that used one went 14 years. Now, if we do that for $400 or even $500, are we going to get 20 or 30 years out of a new one? Or should we look at a used one? Does he make enough money in the concessions to warrant a $2,400 investment? That's another question. So with that, I guess I have my input into that. It's back to you, Mr. Mayor.
I guess I would be with Pat on this. I'd like to see him at least go and approach the ones in town here and ask and see what, if it's possible, it's possible. If it's not, that's fine. Come back and say, no, they won't do it or can't do it. And then we can
We're
move
not
on.
into an emergency situation
Well, and
that we need it before fall.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose maybe some of the banks, appreciation could be used.
Right. But I would say also at the same time is, like I said, is there something that's used that's available, price cost wise, see what it is back and forth. I mean, it's not, like I said, it's not something that we have to decide on at this meeting here, and I think it gives us an opportunity to.
We can put it on the agenda for the workshop.
For the workshop, it'd be a great time to have him come in and maybe actually look around and see if there is any available used or do some more work on it.
In his defense, he didn't just shop the catalog. I gotta defend him there.
Okay, maybe I was a little rough on that.
That's okay.
But, yes, Strategic used to be the old St. Cloud Restaurant Supply. They are very very fluent in this type of equipment, but there are other, there's Superior Products and there's other places where you can get a rough estimate from.
But the other thing we've always said is we want to always see two bids too, not
Right.
just one company.
Right.
This way at least.
There is a second bid in the back,
In the back,
yeah.
there's one in the back,
I thought they
There
were
are
all
two,
the same
there are two
information.
quotes here now.
there's one right back,
Oh, from a different company.
right here.
That's $17.99.
That's the refrigerator one, yes, right here. At 1,800.
All right. Well,
We'll put on the
we'll put
agenda.
it. We'll
Yep.
pass on this for now. We'll just leave it sit there until next time. That's all right with you. Moving on to workshop.
Agree.
Is there anything else on the requisitions?
No, sir.
Okay. Other matters of concern, just remember for everybody, your dog licenses are due by May 1st. Otherwise, they double in price, which means they go from 10 to 20. The other part of being the dog thing is to please bring a bag with and pick up after your pooch when you're walking around. I know there's a few lawns that people get pretty excited. They do a lot of nice work for their lawn and they like to keep it that way, so. Does anybody else have anything else to add?
Just one question, I forgot when Gordy was up there, I noticed utility companies have been in the area, have been trimming. I know one of my lots got a tree that all of a sudden is not there, but they have it piled up alongside of it. Is there a place at the maintenance shop that we can bring this small brush?
Yes, you
And
can.
not big trees, I mean, with brush.
Yes, you can bring the brush there.
And we can do that already.
Yeah, I think you can.
Like I say,
He had said he
they
wanted
came
to
through
wait.
at the end of the spring when it was easy to cut and it was warm enough for them to cut.
I think if council is willing to call this thing a special exception, if they're looking for, the utilities company did the trimming, I would think there's room for that out at the maintenance. But keep in mind, Gordy doesn't have any place to go with it for a couple
Right.
weeks,
Right.
so he'll
But
fill
this stuff
out.
then could possibly be burnt too, and I mean, it's not one of those items where it's gonna
Right.
spend more than a half hour because it's all light twigs and that type of brush.
Okay.
Tim?
And a reminder too, when the compost opens up again, please, when you bring your compost, that you take your bags with you and don't throw the bags into the dumpster again. That's been a major issue over the years. And when that thing gets ground up, it clogs up the machine. And I know those the companies are not very happy about that as well. So
Anybody else have anything else to add for this evening? Are we having a workshop on
April 16th.
16th?
I think so.
Okay.
All right.
Is there enough items on there?
Well, I want to talk. I haven't had a chance to talk to the mayor yet. Number one, I've been trying to keep my distance. He's not in the top quality of health lately. But it'd be nice. Jesse Coleman mentioned he wants to go through the emergency handbook. I think that'd be something good for the council. Use a workshop and go through it. Also, there was some issues that got brought up recently about the city code and some things in it that maybe we should refresh our memories on. And it'd be okay to use our workshops to spend an hour just lightly going through the city code, a couple chapters at a crack.
Sure. And if Jesse wants to do that, maybe he wants to update this, we might be able to take the pictures and do all that stuff as well, that emergency management stuff.
Isn't it the green one?
In big meeting.
Mike?
I know you're attending tonight's meeting and stuff too. Did you have any questions or concerns at all that you wanted to talk about tonight, or are you just sitting and listening at the meeting?
Just observing is all.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. I appreciate your comment. We just want to make sure we didn't miss you in case you had any questions or concerns that you want to address. Okay. So, thank you. So, okay.
Anybody else have anything to add this evening? Any meetings, anything that's important coming up?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thanks, gentlemen.